Hello everyone. Today we're going to be making two types of omelettes. So I'm not even going to list down the ingredients. It's very obvious that omelettes require eggs. So let's just jump right into it. So first thing you want to make sure is that you have a good non-stick pan, about 8 to 10 centimeters, and keep it on a medium heat. Here I have some diced button mushrooms and bacon. Try to keep the size consistent on this one. You want them to cook evenly. So let's start by putting about, maybe half a tablespoon of butter into your pan. Swirl it around. Once the butter is melted, add in your diced bacon and mushrooms. Now we're gonna let it cook a little bit while we prepare our eggs. You can use 2 to 3 eggs per omelette. Here I'm going with 3. Season your eggs with a good pinch of salt and some cracked black pepper. Now proceed to give your eggs a good beating. You can use a fork or a whisk to do this, but I prefer using a fork. Make sure that you whisk your eggs vigorously like this to break down the egg whites and make sure that everything is thoroughly incorporated. So once the bacon and mushroom are done browning, it's time to add in your eggs. This recipe is sort of like a traditional omelette whereby there's going to be very large curds in the omelette and there's going to be some browning. So you do not have to stir it vigorously. Once the eggs start cooking at the side of the pan, just pull it towards the center. And this will allow the raw eggs to move to the side and continue to cook. What most people don't know is that omelettes do have a doneness to them. Some people like it a bit more runny in the center, some people like it well cooked. So it's completely up to you. For me, I like my omelettes a little bit runny in the center. So I would say that at this stage it is about done. Now comes the part where most people f up their omelette and they have to turn it into a scrambled egg instead, the folding. Now while there are many ways for you to fold an omelette, this is my personal technique. Start by folding one of the sides down about a third of the way and then proceed to fold it over itself. So at this stage you want to brown your omelette a little bit more. You can add a little bit of butter to your pan to help with the browning process. Now once the omelette is done browning, you can stick your spatula under the omelette, tilt your pan towards yourself and give it a good flip. This may require some practice. And there you go. You can press your omelette towards the side of the pan to give it a better shape. And there you go, a traditional bacon and mushroom omelette done. Now let's move on to the classic French omelette. So now on to the next omelette. We're going to start with 3 eggs. So the classic French omelette does not have any browning on it. It's going to be very creamy and moist in the center. This style of omelette requires a bit more technique to get right. So it will require a bit of practice. I remember making omelette after omelette after omelette when I was working in a hotel last time during the breakfast shift. So that's where I got my practice. So we're going to add a bit of chives to the eggs over here. I've already chopped up the chives. It's a very nice fragrant herb. Gives a very nice light onion flavor to it. So let's just add it in. Don't forget to season your eggs with salt and pepper. If you don't season your eggs, you should be ashamed of yourself. So like earlier, melt about a half tablespoon of butter into your pan on a medium heat. And then proceed to whisk up your eggs. Make sure that your butter is not brown when it's melting, and then add in your beaten eggs. Now for this style of omelette, you have to work your eggs quite vigorously inside the pan. This is to prevent any large curd from forming. If at any moment the pan gets too hot, you can always remove your pan from the heat and continue stirring from there before putting it back on the heat. Make sure to give the sides of the pan a good scrape down as well. Now as you can see, most of the eggs are starting to turn a pale yellow color, and it's going to turn into a very creamy substance. This is when you know it's almost done. Once your eggs are at this stage, you want to tilt your pan at a 45-degree angle away from you so that most of the liquid will flow downwards towards the edge of the pan. Begin by folding down the eggs closest to the handle until it reaches about halfway. Now comes the really tricky part about folding a classic French omelette. What you want to do is give the handle of the pan a few good taps so that the lip of your omelette slides out from the edge of the pan, like so. I apologize that my hand movement weren't really recorded in this video, but just give the handle of the pan a few good taps and fold the lip back on itself like this. If you have any stuffing like seafood or even some fried bacon and mushrooms, you can stuff it in that slit in between. Your classic French omelette is done. Just tilt the omelette back upon itself like so to plate it. So as you can see, this omelette has a pale yellowish color to it and there's no browning on it whatsoever. So come, let's serve up our 2 omelettes and let's make a comparison. So here we have both omelettes that we made today. You can serve it up however you want, but I normally serve it with some salad. Remember to dress up your salad with a light vinaigrette. I have a recipe for it over here in this box above. But the great thing about omelettes is that it's very quick to cook, and you can serve it as a very nutritious breakfast or as a light lunch. Or maybe even dinner as well if you feel like it. So let's cut into our omelettes. As you can see over here, the traditional omelette is going to be slightly tougher and less runny compared to the classic French omelette. As for the classic French omelette, the center is going to be very nice and creamy. Oh, would you look at that. Yummy. I'd like to give a shout out to the legendary Chef Jacques Pépin, for whom I learned the techniques to cook omelettes all those years ago. So if you like this video, do consider giving it a like and sharing it, and subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you in the next recipe. Bye bye!